So yeah, as we know, an EGR, exhaust gas recirculation valve in our car recirculates a portion of the engine's exhaust gas back into the combustion chamber to reduce the harmful nitrogen oxide emissions by lowering the combustion temperature. So here I will show you how to test the EGR valve to diagnose if it failed. And here is an EGR. Here is the EGR valve from the 2019 Honda HR-V. And right now it's working properly, but I will show you how to know if it functions properly and what will happen if it's not working properly. So first we can disconnect the wire, the electrical wire, the connector. And then we can, one way is you can put some wires to the to connect to the different pins of the EGR, and then you can apply some voltage and to manually control it. But to make it easier, I made a connector, and I made a connector with wires, so we can connect it, and then we can use the wires to control it. Here is the connector, and here is the wire. And connect to the connector. So I will connect to the wire. So I will show here. First, you can see there are 5 pins. If you look at it this way, it's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 1 and the number 5 is a ground and power to control the EGR valve, to control it close or open. And the number 2, 3, 4, the position sensor of the EGR valve, basically to show where is the position of the EGR. So right now I have, we are going to apply voltage to number 1 and number 5. Number 1 is a ground. Number 5 is a voltage we are going to apply. For Honda EGR, usually when you apply 6 volts, then it will work. So we will do that. So let's connect this wire, and then we will use the wire to apply some voltage. So we connect the connector, and here is the 2 wires. So the black wire is the number 1 ground, and the red wire is the number 5. Connect to apply some voltage. So here is the EGR electrical diagram of the 2019 Honda HR-V. Again, pin number 1, number 5 are used to control the EGR solenoid or the EGR valve. Pin number 2, number 3, number 4 are used for the EGR valve position sensor. So the connector wires I made have different colors. So the wire color on different models could be different. So use the pin number to find the correct wires. So now we connect we have our power supply which provides 6 volts, and if I connect the wire, then we should be able to hear the click of the EGR valve. Put the power. So the ground is already connected. So now I just apply the voltage. So when I connect it, so the valve is is open, and when I disconnect it, then it's closed. So you can hear the click. So if you hear the click, which means the valve is working properly, so mechanically there's no problem. So this is the first way you diagnose it. If you hear the click, then which means it's working. If you don't hear the click, then which means your valve is doesn't function. So you have to replace the EGR valve. So this is one way to confirm if the EGR is failed. Okay. So to confirm it's working properly, you can do a dynamic test. And so because usually when the EGR is closed, so which means there's no gas, exhaust gas getting into the engine. So, but if when the engine is running, so when it's idling, it's closed. But if when it's running and then we manually turn on, open the EGR valve, and then there's like exhaust gas getting into the engine, which should not idling. So then basically the engine will stall. If that happens, which means the EGR is working properly, so it opens and closed. If EGR doesn't work properly, then when you manually control it, then you wouldn't have any effect. So let's take a look for that. So now the engine is running, so I'm going to open the EGR. If it's working properly, then the engine should stall. Let's try that. So here's the wire, here's the power supply. I will connect together. As you can see, the engine stalled, and so which means the EGR opened, and actually that's what it's supposed to be. Because of the idling, it should not open, and when it opens, then there's more exhaust gas getting into the engine, so it will stall. So yeah, that's how you can tell if it's working properly. So okay, here is a summary of using this method to diagnose the EGR system. So for the first scenario, if you don't hear the click sound, then the EGR is likely stuck closed and may need to be replaced. For the second scenario, if you hear the click sound, which means the EGR is working fine, but after you manually close the EGR valve using this method, the engine is still running, then it's likely there's a restriction in the EGR system. For example, the carbon buildup in the EGR valve or in the associated passages. So for the third scenario, if your EGR passed this test, which means you can manually open the EGR valve and there's no restriction in the EGR system. In this case, if you still get the EGR related error code, it's likely the wire issues or the PCM, the computer issues, because the EGR doesn't get the correct command signal from the computer. So yeah, that's all. Thank you for watching.